Good evening, everyone. You're watching Social Chatter, your weekly social media marketing talk show. My name is Christian Karasevich, CEO and founder of SocialChefs.com, and we have a great show for you tonight. I want to go ahead and bring myself on screen just to say a quick hello. Hey guys, how you doing? This is episode 167, and I've been doing this for quite a number of years, and I'm actually excited to have tonight's guest on. Tonight's guest is Vincent Orlick. Vincent is working at Arizona State University. Hopefully I get this one right. But he is my original OG co-host. He helped me when we started Social Chatter back in Blab days. Since then, Vincent's gone on to do lots and lots and lots of other things. He was working for an agency previously before ASU. And Phil is now filling in as co-host. So I'm going to go and bring Phil on. We're going to say a quick hello, and we're going to get started with this show. Lots of good stuff this week. We're going to be talking about some Facebook, maybe some LinkedIn, some YouTube, and some Instagram. So Phil, how are you doing this morning, or this evening, I guess?
Today, good afternoon, good evening, good day. It doesn't matter. It's like the Truman Show, man. It's amazing. Life is good, Christian. I'm glad to see you, buddy.
Good to see you as well. So we were just talking backstage. Got a great guest on this week. Vincent, do you know Vincent?
I do know Vincent. We played fantasy football together, and he kicked my butt last year. So I'm pretty excited to bring him on and to mock him with some social media goodness. So
very nice, very nice. Yes, definitely. I'm currently playing fantasy football with him, and not doing so hot.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. I'm loser as in loser this year. So I've got 5 leagues. I've only got one that I'm even close to the running. I actually think I'm in last place in a couple of leagues. So, don't cry for me, Argentina, but Vincent likely will kick my butt. Kelly's even beating me this year, Vincent. I don't know what's up with that, man.
But I think she's really good at it, though, yeah.
She is.
She's always been good at it, at fantasy football.
She is, yep. So, she's reverse cowgirl in it. That's always her team name. So, why we love Kelly. So.
So it's great to have everybody joining us tonight. Vincent, welcome. Phil, thank you as well. For those of you watching tonight's show, do us a favor, hit that share button, invite your friends, tag them, do the @sign. We've got a great show, lots and lots and lots of stuff to talk about. But Vincent, anything you want to tell everyone before we get started here?
No, just thanks for having me back. And, it's great to be back, hanging out with you guys. Haven't talked to Phil in a long time, too long. Christian, Christian messages me about fantasy football stuff. That's what I'm going to say. I'm going to rat you out, Christian. You message me about, I'm the co-commissioner. Christian messages me and asks me questions or he'll like, I don't know, complain about something.
That happens. Hey, man, when you're swimming in the toilet, you got to ask the turds for air. That's all I'm saying, Vincent. So I will say, Christian.
I love it.
I'm not the best fantasy football player, so I like to leverage Vincent, because I feel like, he's like, just so many levels higher. And so, I like to ask him for feedback. Hey, is this a good trade to submit? Because, here's the thing. When you submit trades to people, you want to make sure you're giving them a fair deal. So.
No, you don't. You want to make sure you screw them and trade them so that you win. Let's be really clear. The goal is not for it to be fair. It's for me to win. I'm just going to tell you, Christian. Maybe that's why although I'm in last place too, dude. So I shouldn't really talk. So,
I'm a step up from last place.
There you go.
I have 2 ties this year.
2 ties. So you're the Cleveland Browns of the league, huh?
I think I'm going to make the playoffs, but it's because of the 2 ties potentially that I'm going to make it.
Playoffs? Who's talking about playoffs? So, we're not going to talk about fantasy football. We're going to talk more social media smack because we got some great folks here tonight. We got Mia Voss is joining us. We got Katie Miller's joining us. Hey, has Mia been on the show yet, Christian? Because we really need to bring Mia on.
I'm not sure if I'm trying to remember if we had her on, but I know we definitely need to have her on.
Mia, if you haven't muted us because we're talking too much fantasy football, please reach out to Christian or I. We'd love to have you on the show. And Katie was a great guest, so we're delighted she's here. And I called Kelly out, so maybe we'll get 3 viewers tonight.
We've had Kelly on as well, so yes.
Yep. Love some Kel. So cool. So we got lots of stuff to talk about tonight. Christian, where are we going to start this wheel of cheese tonight?
I think we're going to start with a little Facebook watch party here.
Whoop, whoop, Facebook watch party. Watch the social chatter. Woo.
So we've got Facebook watch party. You know, Facebook is finally rolling out watch party to all pages and people on Facebook. Basically, you know, this is a way for people to watch a video and discuss it in real time. Have you guys, you know, experimented with this yet, Phil?
No, dude, I don't have any friends, man. Nobody would do a watch party with me, but I do have multiple computers. So I guess I could watch party with me. But no, I haven't tried it. Vincent, you playing with the watch party yet, man?
No, you know what? I haven't had like a really good reason to do one myself.
Okay.
I've been in groups where people have done them. It's, you know, it's, I mean, and we'll talk about it more. It's okay. You know, it's cool. I don't know that anyone, of course, has, even now since they started releasing them to people. I don't know that anyone has really figured out the best application for it.
Right.
But I know Phil, when we were talking in the pre-show there, Phil had a really good idea.
Me with an idea? Yeah. So maybe your show, right? Bring your live in or do some election coverage, right? That would be pretty fun. I can see some town hall type stuff where everybody gets together. And now we're, you know, or even we could even see stock earnings if they want to announce, right? Tesla, maybe Elon Musk could do some more insider trading on Tesla and announce some stuff like that, right? I mean, there's lots of opportunities, I think, for folks to do it. Or let's think about how cool it would be to have a company that actually does a product launch on Facebook, on their page, get people excited. Like, you know, like remember 100 years ago when Victoria's Secret had the first ever, you know, live event that they had. Well, now I don't care about Victoria's Secret, but I'd love to see, you know, somebody else do this. Maybe maybe I'll watch the Super Bowl together because, you know, Facebook's got that. I think there's lots of opportunities for businesses to play in this space.
So,
go
ahead, Vincent. Yeah,
I was gonna say that there definitely is. It's just like what we all do already, right? I mean, how many the Oscars, any of those award shows that people sit around and you sit on Twitter and follow a trending hashtag and people tweet and rag on people and make jokes. I mean, I feel like that's almost kind of where Facebook got the idea. Was that sort of inspiration? Are people ready to stay on Facebook and watch something and talk? I think it's going to matter what the show is. You know, it totally is. While businesses could certainly do it and should try it, and they really just are going to need to make sure that they're tapping into their exact, like, their audience with the right thing that they're showing. I think that if it was say Toy Story, Disney Pixar decided to say, hey, the new Toy Story trailer is coming out and we're putting it on a watch party off our group, right? Our official Disney group or something. People would jump in. Like, I think people would watch it, you know, and on that big scale, I really do think it could work in a really cool way. For these smaller businesses or for even medium-sized businesses, they're just going to have to be really, really selective, I think, in order to get the kind of engagement that it would make it worth their while.
Well, do they really need a lot of engagement, though, Vincent? I mean, if they just set up a stream, man, and they get people on their page for an hour, that's pretty good, man. I mean, just to sit there and watch it. I mean, Katie mentioned here, schools could take advantage of this watch party for parent meetings. Mia talks about, she's got a Facebook group dedicated to award show snark, that we could talk about this. I mean, I think even more than engagement, I mean, just time there. And here's what's coming, and this is key, is in-stream ads, not like over the top, overproduced, though that's possible too with Zoom. But like right here, man, we could say, you know, today's episode is brought to you by Social Chefs. For all your daily emails, go to socialchefs.com/daily and sign up. Because I already say that every freaking week, right? So I think that's opportunity as well. And to your point about engagement, you got to think show now. And I think this is just the start of Facebook offering a show platform instead of just a conversation platform.
That's a good point. And with show, because now you're talking about if they have the portal, let's say any of those type of devices where they could have it sort of in the background even and come back and forth to it, but keep it on. It's funny because
like
all this
CNN or something.
Right, but isn't this all this is? We're all coming back to, and one of the YouTube thing, even if we get to it, we'll see. But like, it's all just coming back to like TV and commercials. That's all we're just returning to all that same idea that we've been trying to like sort of get away from, and now Facebook and all these places are just bringing it back to that, to monetize and to set it up as time spent watching things. And you're right, Phil, about engagement. I mean, it would be nice, right? I mean, these companies to go back and the analytics and all that good stuff and say, oh, we got these people talking, but in reality, it's about just, hey, here it is, and everyone's here and paying attention.
Now, the other thing I think that actually could be very neat. So you mentioned portal. So I don't have a Facebook portal. We talked about, just the high cost for somebody to get one of those. Then you have to get one for your parents, your friends, all the people basically that, you kind of want to communicate with. Where this could be useful as well would be, Facebook Live has a scheduling feature where you could schedule a show. And for example, say somebody has Facebook portal, I think it'd be pretty cool to be able to have the show pop on or give you a reminder on portal. Hey, this show is going live, to encourage you to tune in to the one that you're scheduled for.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, notifications are the killer app. Let's be quite honest. If I can get you to turn on notifications for my show, guess what? You're going to watch it, or at least it's going to come on and be like, oh shit, you scared me, right? So I really think, I think that's a great suggestion, Christian. And I also think as we go, we can save it to watch for later. And now we've got Facebook TV coming soon through their own hardware, locked into their own ecosystem with their own advertising, shutting Apple out, shutting Google out, and bringing it right down Main Street.
That's a pretty good idea, actually. So
I'm telling you, man, it's coming. It's coming, baby. And for all of us, right, the good news is we can advertise our own stuff on these shows. If, like right now, we can talk about, the great LinkedIn stuff that we're doing here or there, or Christian's great social media services, or Vincent's fantasy football prognostication service, whatever it is, we can talk about that in our own show. And now, right, if people tune in and we're entertaining enough, or they don't like us enough and they just make fun of us, that's cool too, because now we get to have our own stuff. And I think that is a big opportunity for every business to find a personality that they can get behind and have that, like Crazy TV Lenny, or like down here we've got Billy Fusillo, who talks about cars that are huge. It's pretty crazy. So,
well, and you also have the feature for news stations, for example. You've got the feature where you can take a Facebook page and it can share the broadcast, for example, with, say, a page for a news anchor, and the news anchor can go live, for instance, from their location. So that's also where I could see this kind of, starting to kind of put the pieces together, if you think about it.
Yeah, that's a great idea as well. I love that.
So, Vincent, anything else? Any last thoughts you want to add on Facebook watch parties? I dropped the instructions on how you go about starting these into the chat from your Facebook page, but anything you want to
add? Only that it's funny that Blab, right, talking about Blab days, you could do something similar in there, where you could, on one of the screens, you could have something else, right? And then from there was another app called Rabbit, where you could watch things, I believe, on certain video platforms, YouTube or online with other people. So it was a couple of years ago. So it's interesting to see Facebook kind of going down that road now.
Definitely. It'll be really interesting to see what happens also as far as, do other, like, for instance, do movie studios, for instance, get on the Facebook watch party train and, for instance, start partnering with Facebook and have, movies available where people can, watch them together, like actual full length motion pictures, beyond just, businesses and pages and whatnot. So I think there's a lot of opportunity here for Facebook watch party. Hopefully get some traction. Good feature. So
we'll see. We'll see. I mean, they're trying to compete with YouTube, right, and Netflix and everybody else, and trying to capitalize on the fact that people are there potentially and want to watch the same thing and want to talk about it.
Yeah.
Or watch at the same time.
Yep. Totally agree.
And here's the thing. The bottom line is, you know, as you mentioned, as a business, you know, for a business purpose here, it's going to come down to your show and your content. You know, it doesn't matter which platform you're on, whether it's YouTube, whether it's Facebook Watch, you know, any of these features. I mean, It's going to basically come down to the content of the show. You know, people can't tune into you everywhere. You need to look at your analytics, see where your audience is most engaged at, where your content fits the best, and publish your content there. You know, and just continue to refine. So definitely. By the way, Barb, thanks a lot for tuning in as well. She's talking about movies on demand, watching with friends, and Facebook Watch. Definitely. You know, service Voodoo, the service from Walmart, they have that feature as well. So a lot of people hold watch parties for that kind of stuff as well. So great suggestion. Phil, so where do you want to go next, by the way? Now that we've talked about watch parties.
Well, let's stay on Facebook, right, where they're connecting now people to local news in their communities. Another terrific possible way to be using Facebook. I think this is really slick, right? The more that we have people connected locally or around a community, whether it's virtual or not, it really offers us a lot here. Because if we're connected, right, we're going to be into this, which means we're going to share it, which means we're going to amplify it, which means we're going to stay there. So, Vincent, what do you think, man? Do you think this is a big deal or not?
I don't know. I don't know if it's a big deal, because I was looking through my own feed and then looking at the video on the page there, and I noticed I don't think I have that necessarily yet, the Today in Local News, but I do have, and I've noticed for a little while, the Today in Local Government or Today in Government. And that, look, for the last couple of years, I, along with probably a few other people, have gotten a little bit more, paid a little bit more attention to politics, both local and national. So it's helped me. Like I've, not that I was totally oblivious before, but I didn't pay as much attention. And so now having that Today in Government piece, where it connects me to my local even representatives, it tells me who they all are, and it prompts me to go like their pages and connect with them and all that. This could be, as long as they it comes back to the relevancy and the validity, as always with Facebook and Facebook serving you news, right? It's gotta be valid. It's gotta be stuff, because people do fall for goofy sites.
Fake news.
Yeah. So I mean, not so much anymore. It was really bad, obviously, a couple of years ago, and they've cleaned it up more so, but it's not perfect. So it'll be interesting to see where they pull these local news items from. I'll be curious to see where they pull them from. If they pull them like here in Arizona and Phoenix, the Phoenix area, we have azcentral.com, right? And that is the Arizona Republic's website. That is the local news website you would go to, you would direct anyone else to generally. There's a lot of other little smaller ones that I like to read too. So I don't want to just see stuff from the local news. The other piece, and I'll finish with this part, is something like AZ Central. You have to pay $1 a month, whatever their subscription thing is, or you're going to just get 10 articles for free. So when you're getting these pieces of news, how much are they giving you? And then is it a driver for revenue for these news sites that make you pay a subscription fee to read more? I generally don't pay most sites, even $1 a month. I find my news other places. So how much news are they going to give you for free that you don't have to pay for? That is it going to hurt or help even the local news sites?
Yeah, well, I totally think this is Facebook's attempt to kind of cannibalize on New York Times and WAPO and some of this. Even though they say it's local, they're gonna test it out locally, because if they can get some of the big players locally, to your point, right? AZ Central's a big player here in Tampa. It's the Tampa Bay Times. I really think if they get some of them locked in, what's going to happen is, first, they're going to start. I really believe they're going to start charging us for news, because news, if it's investigative, if it's any good, that's one thing. The second thing I think they're going to do is they're going to be like Patch, and they're going to create their own editorial group, because they're going to get eyeballs. I really think that Patch was just ahead of its time in the fact that, you know, they paid a lot with advertising dollars. I think Patch was ahead of its time. AOL buying it is nice, but I expect that Facebook's going to buy Patch or something like Patch or HuffPo, right, and mobilize them locally, because frankly, local news is still done by local people, and local people a lot of times they need or they're willing to write for less than somebody who has won the Pulitzer at the New York Times. So I think that's interesting. But Katie Miller says she's never going to pay for a news site.
Yeah, I'm with Katie. I
am as well.
Generally, I'm not going to pay unless I absolutely have to. Like, there's very few select that I would pay that are actually currently free. I would pay. It's like HBO, right? Like HBO, not that it's news, but I pay for HBO. I have no problem paying for HBO, but then there's times where I'll cancel it because there's nothing I want to watch. So it's month to month. You just cancel it, all that. With the news sites, if they went, say, month to month, I don't know if that would be an option, but there's so many other places to usually get news. Local news does have a bit of a monopoly in a way, because sometimes there's a lot of stories. There's definitely more stories in the local news area that are exclusive to that journalist, that newspaper, or that print publication, that website that they're working on, that the national news is working on all the same big stories generally. In the local news, they could, if they really, really just totally focused on certain areas, and that's the only place you could get it, it was exclusive, well then, now there's a reason to pay for it.
Absolutely, right? Exclusive content still has an opportunity here. I think that's the only way that local news comes back. I mean, back in my little hometown of 996 people, there's a newspaper called the Peshtigo Times, and all they had they were the weekly paper, and then the Marinette Eagle Times Herald, I think it's called now. They were the daily paper, and I think it's really interesting because that's, you know, I don't know how else to get news from back home.
Right.
There is no 24-hour news service, so we'll see. It's interesting, but this is an opportunity for Facebook to try to go more local instead of trying to influence that. And to that point, you know, we'll see how much fake news and how much real news we get. I mean, is John Bob's, you know, Crab Shack that's talking about fishing, is that going to feed in, or is it just AC Central? I don't know. So that'll be
how are they going to surface and discover those stories that are, I mean, they're probably going to run it off however they were trying to do, hopefully a revised version of how they were trying to do Facebook trending back before they shut it down, because that didn't always work ideally. So yeah, there's an opportunity there for sure. I will say this: is this the best time for Facebook to try to be doing this? Because the trust level right now and the PR are people just generally, people are going to look at this, hear this, not care about what the actual facts are. They're going to hear this and say, oh, well, I don't get my news from Facebook anyway. Anyone that gets their news from Facebook, blah, 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 blah. And it's just the vehicle. It's not like Facebook isn't giving me my news. I'm liking a page like of the Washington Post, let's say, and that's where the news is coming from, through Facebook. It's not Facebook giving me my news. I could go get it anywhere else from Washington Post or Twitter or whatever. So it's gonna be interesting to see the reaction to this, if there's much of anything, how people just generally react to it. If it's positive, I feel like it might be mostly more negative, just on the surface level.
Yeah, we'll see. So Katie mentions exclusivities make paying for news the only exception, and I totally agree with that. I completely agree. I think that is and likely that's why Facebook is thinking about it. And I would tell you, I mean, the recent news says Facebook's talked about monetizing the platform by charging us a subscription. That kind of leaked out. So it doesn't surprise me they're thinking about this. I would certainly, I'll tell you what, if I could get 3 national newspapers and one or 2 local papers that actually wrote good news, that I could actually, when buttholes come out and troll the comments, that I could block them, that would make me incredibly happy. Because I got to tell you, right now the comment section of every single local newspaper is a cesspool of trolls.
Oh, yeah.
Because they can be anonymous, and even if they're anonymous, they're not really anonymous on Facebook, but they're still morons. So I'm looking forward to more of that, where we can censor each other. I don't know. That's my feeling anyway.
And you know what we're talking about in reality is we're talking about, like, this is why. Hi, Kelly, by the way, waving.
Kelly. Isn't
this why newsletters are so popular right now? Some of the bigger ones, like I subscribe to several that there's I think it's called The Hustle, that it serves in my inbox, boom, and it's like an interesting take as far as it's entertaining, but it's interesting and it's factual, and it's not just this plain old news report that just is everywhere. It's this one person that it's sort of his take on the news, but it's not entirely his take. It's just he's writing it in a fun way. That's making the newsletter worth my time to subscribe to, and then I pay attention to when it shows up in my inbox. It's serving me this news, like right to my inbox, and I expect it. So it's again, the good content thing. It always comes back to that.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of my favorite newsletters is Brain Pickings. Maria Popova does a great job with Brain Pickings. Some other ones as well. And Katie mentions she can't even look at the online newsfeed comments. Totally agree. Very, very toxic. Very toxic. So yeah, good stuff, man. So for whatever reason, Christian's camera's conked out. Perhaps he's camera shy tonight. I don't know, but the good news is he's still here with us. He's running the feed. So hopefully, folks, are getting some value tonight. If you want to get more Social Chefs, go to socialchefs.com/daily and sign up for our newsletter. We send this out every week. Christian does a great job of putting this together. It's a recap as well as the video. You can listen into this and have some good fun. Tonight, we're with Vincent Orlick. He is at Arizona State University. We're just delighted that he's here. Hopefully, he's excited to be here as well. And look at this. Who's back? What's up, Christian?
I didn't even realize I was off camera. My
it's been an hour.
Broadcast was actually showing. That's really strange. So,
that's good.
So the whole Facebook, local news feature. I mean, I think they're calling it Today In or something like that. Yeah. I think this is, I think again, like kind of what you guys were saying. I mean, I'm not going to pay for news. There's too many places that I can go and get this for free. It's going to have to be really compelling. There's some tools, you guys mentioned a couple of newsletters. The Skim is also another pretty good one for getting, just a quick, synopsis of what's going on. They basically summarize a lot of things for you. So that way you don't even have to go to a social media channel. But I think kind of, as you mentioned, they are going to have to clean up a lot of things before I think this can kind of get some traction. A lot of people, the comments, as you mentioned, they're kind of toxic, as Katie mentioned. So I think that, they definitely have some cleanup to do before this will actually be a useful feature for a lot of people. By the way, I don't have the Today In feature. I checked. I don't have the updated app as well. So we'll see whenever Facebook decides they want to roll this out.
Yeah, it'll come soon and we'll be okay. So we'll keep this up.
Definitely.
So, cool.
So where do you guys want to go next?
So Vincent, we're going to let you choose, buddy. You want to go to Instagram or LinkedIn?
Oh, I mean, come on. I'm the lone Snapchat holdout, so I definitely want to talk about LinkedIn.
All right. LinkedIn is now taking over Snapchat with LinkedIn stories, which is pretty disgusting if you ask me. So I know Ann Wynn is going to love this. Ann loves every time LinkedIn gets less professional. I think an angel loses their wings, or at least Ann gets really pissed off. So this is an interesting feature here. LinkedIn is launching Snapchat stories. And what's hilarious is TechCrunch says, LinkedIn launches its own Snapchat stories. Here's why it shouldn't have. No app is safe from the stories plague. So thank you, TechCrunch, for whizzing all over LinkedIn. What do you think, Vincent? Good move or bad move?
Oh, man. Okay, I'm ready. I would say, number one, I would say, why not? Why not? Is it potentially the best move in a business, professional platform to have stories? Maybe it might work. Look, so far, the only place I would say that it hasn't worked officially, and even that is sort of changing now, I think, is Facebook stories. I feel like people are starting to use Facebook stories a little bit more, even though they're using Instagram stories way more, and they are still using Snapchat stories. The audience that's on Snapchat is still using stories there. Here's the thing with their strategy, they're starting with college students, right? They're rolling it out to, from what I gathered in the article, they're rolling it out to college students in their app, right? In their version of the app, which, assuming that's true, that is not surprising for obvious reasons. I think with everybody that's in here knows, like, with stories, what people are trying to accomplish with stories, they feel like it's a Gen Z millennial function within these apps primarily, and then brands obviously want to take advantage of stories. But it's funny because, man, 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago, I know some of you guys may know Coca Sexton.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys know Coca. When he was at LinkedIn, he came to, and it was funny, it was an ASU event. I was not there then, but it was an ASU / LinkedIn event that was called Rock Your Profile. And in LinkedIn's never-ending quest to get younger users, they were going to a couple select universities and having these events. And at this event, I met him there. It was actually a really good event. It didn't have a big turnout at all, unfortunately, but they had in the room, they had like a panel initially, a couple of people. He was on it, a couple other people talking about LinkedIn. They had some reps from places like Boston Scientific, some of the other really well-known Honeywell, places like that. They had people there from LinkedIn that would sit with you and help you optimize your profile at a table. They had a photographer there, full setup, taking professional headshots for your profile photo. It was just this really cool one spot resource that college students could go to. And they're trying to get college students to get on LinkedIn, because generally college students are not getting on LinkedIn at all until maybe their senior year, second semester. Right. People are like, hey, you should be on LinkedIn because you're looking for a job and people need to see you. And it's not that it's totally too late by then, but if they started earlier, putting themselves online on LinkedIn, being found, maybe they can make better connections way ahead of time and connect with people that may be able to help them out, right? So none of this, I mean, everyone that's in here, we all know all this stuff is the case. You should be on LinkedIn. If you're a professional, you should be on LinkedIn. That being said, rolling out stories, I think it's worth a shot. I think as silly as it sounds for LinkedIn to have stories to everybody, and I've laughed about it too, I think it's worth a shot to see what happens. I don't think that the function of having stories on a platform is limited to just the younger crowd. I don't think it has to be. I think it could be used by anyone, and why not? In the article, they talked about how their intention was for people to use stories to talk about their workplace and show behind the scenes. Why are you going to limit it? Why are you going to just tell people, yeah, do this with it? No, let people get creative. The thing that everyone's talking about on LinkedIn right now is video. So this is just another way to do video. So I'm off my high horse. You guys tell me what you think.
I think that, again, I mean, I think that they kind of have to do this. I don't think right now is the best time necessarily. I mean, I think that, they're still kind of doing some revamping at LinkedIn to kind of get things back into place. But, they kind of have to. I like your point, by the way, that, if you're a student, you should be on LinkedIn, way before your senior year. Yeah, it's almost like this. By the way, maybe your university can do this, but, it's that they should start maybe doing some training when people come in as freshmen or sophomores like to encourage them, to get them into LinkedIn to start going down that path.
Yeah, some classes I know that's part of it now. That's part of like these sort of professional development classes. They'll get them to set up a LinkedIn profile and optimize it.
Definitely. Overall, I mean, I think, again, I'm glad they're doing it. They have to do it to bring in the younger demographic. Hey, if Facebook's, doing stories, Instagram's doing stories, Snapchat, of course, why not LinkedIn, I'd say. So I think that it makes a lot of sense for them to do this. Phil, what do you think?
Well, as the LinkedIn trainer that I am, first of all, I absolutely think this is an opportunity for creatives to show off their more creative side. So this is a big win for creatives, first of all.
Mm-hmm.
Second of all, this is an opportunity to interact with customers in a more real way. So you can totally do more with a little image and a few stickers than you can in just a flat message. Along with this, if you notice, they also rolled out this week that you can actually upload a file, which is a PDF, a Word document, or a PowerPoint, right to your profile as a in your status. So now I haven't seen how this displays yet, and I wonder if they do virus scanning. I'm going to say that they do. Let's hope that they do anyway on the server. I'm curious, like, what this actually means for folks, because we're going to see that LinkedIn becomes more three-dimensional. Katie mentioned she rarely uses LinkedIn, but I'm going to tell you, if it's more three-dimensional and more personal, I think this does get some people that weren't on LinkedIn or weren't really heavy users. It gives them an opportunity to show off more, because frankly, most of these LinkedIn profiles make me want to fall asleep. Freaking resumes, like bullet point after bullet point after bullet point. I'm good with Microsoft Word. I like to woodwork on the weekends. And by the way, I pick my toes with my teeth. Come on. Like, this is not useful stuff, folks. But these stories give you an opportunity to showcase more of your personality, more of your creativity, as we're looking at people that are more creative. And if we're saying, and we are, that storytelling is a valuable skill, well, show it off. Show me these, and then pin them to your profile so I can see your stories.
Totally.
I think, here's the thing. Right now, it's a feature. They're calling it LinkedIn Stories. It's called Student Voices at the moment, because it's there for students. I still think that, if LinkedIn were to roll out stories to people that aren't necessarily students, I think that, I think most people are going to have a hard time using these, because I think they already have a hard time understanding, how do I differentiate my content across each social media channel? You're still going to see the same person, regurgitating the same message across Facebook, across Instagram, across LinkedIn, and even Snapchat if they're using that as well. So I think that, they're going to have, I think there needs to be more, I think people need more training, I think, in a way, to help them understand, how do I differentiate my content across these platforms?
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I would say they need more training, period, on these new things. It's always hard, right? I run into this all the time. It's not customized. LinkedIn tries to roll out standard training for everyone. The problem is every company uses LinkedIn a little bit differently. They have a different content management solution. They have a different place where their content repository is. They have a different face that they give it. They have a different voice. So I really think it's super important that LinkedIn gets some of their more evangelistic people like myself to really take hold of this and to see what this looks like. Because if not, I mean, they're just cruising for a bruise, and I think this is not going to help them.
I would add one thing. I would say that I think it makes more sense that LinkedIn adds this story function than Facebook did.
Right.
I really do, because Facebook, and not saying that because Facebook Stories hasn't taken off entirely, but like Facebook has Instagram, and now I think you can't you share your Instagram stories to Facebook? Isn't that in texting, right? So now you're talking about like how much story stuff you're going to put on Facebook from other places. LinkedIn providing that feature, yeah, we're moving towards singularity and all that sort of thing, but it's so what? They didn't have that option. So now you'll have that option potentially once we're past the college student phase, which I honestly don't get. I understand why they did it, but why in their minds they did it, I don't really get why they only rolled it out to college students to start with, because I don't think like that's not who's on the platform. Again, like we talked about.
I disagree with you. They are on the platform. They're using Recruiter, man. Recruiter is the biggest platform that LinkedIn has. That's where they make all their money, buddy. I think I get you. Oh, yeah, for sure. All about the recruiting. Absolutely. Trying to get folks in. So I really think, well, they want that. It's not that they're necessarily using, but they want to drive them to the platform, because the younger they get them adopted, the sooner they're addicted.
Oh, sure, they want to drive them there, but that's what I'm saying is starting it there. Does that mean that they're going to go use it there?
Well, let's hope so. It's familiar already, right? I mean, they already know how to use Snapchat. They already know how to use Facebook. I think this makes a lot of sense.
Do they want to use it on LinkedIn? I guess is more like the question. If they're doing it these other places, do they even want to go spend time on LinkedIn? I get why LinkedIn wants them to do it.
Yeah.
But do they like that's their ideal world is, yeah, we're going to get younger and younger people in college to use it because the stories are here. But I mean, if they just rolled it out to a different segment or to everybody at once, like there's more people that would be more willing to use it, like you, Phil, like me. Christian would probably jump in.
Totally.
Jump in. How many people do we know? Now, marketing community for sure, right? We'd all
of course
try it out at least.
Yeah, but I think their hardest part, LinkedIn's most challenging part, is to get people that are not me, frankly, that are not you, Vincent, to use the platform. Because frankly, if marketers take it over, we ruin everything.
Of course.
So I think this actually, this makes a lot of sense, and we'll see if it catches fire. I mean, that's always the question, right? Will it catch fire? If it does, fantastic. And if it doesn't, well, then I guess they won't use it, right? And that's okay.
It's funny. Katie said her girls don't really use stories, and my 18-year-old, she uses Snapchat. She doesn't use stories. That's interesting. They use it to communicate more like text messaging than anything else. So that's she's right. You're right.
Interesting stuff.
And Joanne.
Yeah, crazy stuff. So it's good that we got other smart people here besides us, because we just certainly don't pretend to know everything here on Social Chatter. So
a lot of smart women.
Yeah,
a lot of smart women.
Absolutely. So cool. Well, so much more to share. We've got time for one more quick thing, and that is Instagram is now letting users add alt text to photos, making it a whole lot more accessible. So have you guys seen this yet? Have you used this? Is it available on your account?
I don't have it yet, but I think this is big. Again, I think Vincent, I think we said this a few years ago as well when we talked about this for other platforms, but I think this is big. I don't have it though, so.
I don't either. Yep, not mine either. What about you? Do you have it yet there, Vincent?
I don't have it. I know like Twitter and Facebook, you have that ability to add alt text. And I know when we talked about it those several years ago when they had introduced it, we were even thinking that it was going to be some sort of SEO benefit.
Yeah.
I to be honest, since that time, I don't know. I've maybe used it a handful of times personally, whether it's for a brand or for myself. So I don't know. I mean, I guess because Instagram's so visual, the question will be, will people take the time to enter in the alt text? That's the biggest question to me. Like, what's the benefit to someone entering alt text in their Instagram posts?
Well, it's accessible, right? I mean, I think that's the biggest feature, man, is now you can read an Instagram story or read an Instagram post instead of having to see it. Again, if 90% of video is off sound, now I can read it. And I would guess this means the next move is also that they have captions on their stinking videos.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
So Mia says, hey, could you explain this to us? And, and as you mentioned, kind of Phil, like basically what it's doing is when you're adding alt text, and this applies the same to your blog. It applies to, in this case, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. They all have this feature where you basically go to upload an image and you can basically tell Google in this case, you can tell them what the image is about. So this gives you more context. It also helps you surface your content a lot better. So in this case, the win here is, it will help surface your content for other people that, might be looking, for instance, for a photo, or hey, maybe for instance, they want to pull up an Instagram post to embed in their, in a blog post or something they've written. This could go very well with that as well. It helps surface accounts, people who have optimized it properly. But to Phil's point, it also makes a lot of sense to be able to then add, subtitles, for instance, and so forth after the fact. But, I say this is big. Here's the thing. I say this is big, and I've said this for years. It's because, it's just like blogging. How do you get your content, to rank on search engines? It's all about taking the time to optimize the content properly. Whether that's, the keyword you're going to write, in the article, or the keywords you're going to use, but your images, you need to optimize them. Most people don't do it. So you wonder, well, hey, why does that site rank all the way at the top all the time? It's not because, it's partly because, hey, they're publishing content a lot, but they're also taking the time to optimize the content properly. And when you do it, it does pay dividends.
Heck yeah. Good points. Good points.
The only thing is with this, it's more so for the visually impaired, so that when you have that thing turned on your phone, it'll read to you what you're seeing.
Yeah.
And so here's the question. Have you guys on Twitter and Facebook used this feature ever?
Is it available?
It's been there.
Exactly.
No. Right? No. So hold on. So to that point, though, hold on.
It's been available for
I'm not visually impaired. Okay.
Right.
I don't think about it. Not to mention, Facebook is not a search engine like Instagram is. Right. I think the difference here is Instagram is a search engine. It is not as opposed to, Facebook is just a feed, right? It's just a waterfall. Instagram, if I can't search, man, it's useless. There's nothing there. There's no findability. There's no links. So I really think this is a necessary thing that Instagram had to do in order to keep up.
So I'm wondering, do they actually consider maybe even taking on Pinterest with this, by adding, for instance, this feature? I'm just wondering here because, hey, you picked on Snapchat for a while. Now everybody's copying Snapchat. Are they going to possibly, maybe use this to kind of, try to tap into that Pinterest crowd? Because, hey, Pinterest is a big traffic driver for a lot of websites.
Boy, that's a great point, man. I hadn't thought about that. I really like that. Certainly could, right? This could be their next killer. Could be really interesting.
And by the way, I'm updating my Instagram app to see if I actually have this feature.
I don't have it yet, so we'll see. We'll see what the heck happens here, guys. So really interesting stuff. Yeah. Hope so. So we'll see. But yeah, we're not quite sure yet how exactly businesses are going to use this. Would love to see that they do. But frankly, it's too soon to tell, I think, for many of them. Too soon to tell if they will. And some will, and some will rank. And this could be an easy way for a business to do a better job of ranking that they couldn't have done before.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. It's not, I understand this is for visually impaired necessarily, but it's a very easy feature. It's the same thing for like social media, just, for optimizing your content for search. You go to upload an image and it's a field that you take 2 seconds to fill out and tell somebody what it is. How hard is that to do? And again, it's not about keyword stuffing. It's about being accurate and authentic with what it is. For example, in this case, if I'm on Instagram, I'm adding location, for instance, to a photo. So tell people what that location is. Tell them what it is, for example. This way, they get a better idea of it. And you're not just helping somebody, but you're also helping yourself by taking the 2 seconds to fill this out. By the way, I do not have this. It's under the advanced settings. When you go to publish a new post on Instagram, there's a commenting feature, there's a preferences feature, but there's an alt text feature that would be in the middle there. So I think it's I know, Vincent, we said this a few years ago. I think this is a good feature. I think that, it lends itself, I think, for Instagram to a lot more. I mean, people haven't tapped into Instagram on the desktop because, hey, it's not even out yet, but I've noticed Instagram's slowly been adding other features to integrate it with the web. So I think that this is a useful feature they're adding.
Cool.
So, Vincent, anything you want to add? Any closing thoughts on this one?
No, not on this one.
Okay.
Awesome. So now it's my favorite time of the night. It's time for tool time. It's tool time. So we got 2 awesome tools that we're going to share with you. And we've got tons of tools that we could go through. We're going to be sharing 2 of the more popular ones that we found this week that are going to be useful for you. So, Christian, bring up the first one and let's talk about whichever one you want. Surprise us.
So the first tool is called Zubtitle, and I hope I'm saying that right.
You are, yeah. It's Zubtitle. That's right.
So this is Zubtitle. Basically, it's a tool to help you automatically add captions to your social media videos. In their case, they say it'll take minutes to do. Phil, have you used this tool before?
So I played with it a little bit this week, actually. I got asked about it this week, and it's a great tool. There's a lot of power here. It really has an opportunity to really do some cool stuff. It looks like it's trying to go head-to-head with a Rev or something like that. So
yeah,
we'll see what it does. Otter, by the way, now does have the ability to export into an STT file, which then, or something TT. I can't remember the exact file. Hold on, I'll find out.
SVT, I think it is. I think it's SVT.
No, SRT is the right file. Right. The wrong file is VTT. So you can go VTT to SRT, and SRT can ingest now into your video. And so this does the same thing. So this is pretty interesting that they're doing this. Another competitor using automated artificial intelligence to suss things out to show us exactly how it should be. So I'm pretty excited about this. I think there's lots of opportunity here for people. What do you think, Vincent? Do you do a lot of video? Would you do some subtitling?
Yeah, well, I do. I definitely do captions. Rev, I love Rev. Use them often for taking videos, taking the content, the transcribing videos, and then like a hack that I use sometimes is taking that and turning it into a blog, and then taking that, putting it up and into other little whatever tweets and posts and things. And it's just easier to manage when you have the actual script also of the video. We're in the process of making one right now. It's like a 28-minute long interview that we have to build a video around that, and having the transcript is much easier to use rather than having to go through the whole video and be like, oh yeah, what do we want to do here and here? You can just segment it out by the script. But yeah, I'm a big Rev fan. I haven't not used Zubtitle. It looks a little bit cheaper. It looks like the price is a little bit less. I would assume, that things are getting really good with quality wise now too. So it's one of those that I tend to stay loyal to things. So for this one to get me, I'd have to try it and be super really blown away. Because Rev has been really good to me. But this one looks really interesting. It looks really interesting that you can do individual videos, $6, that's it. 10 minutes, save a couple bucks. Phil, when you used it, was there anything that sort of jumped out at you as to hey, this is great and this is going to make me use this more often?
No, I really, to your point, right? I'm really all about what the heck is working for me, and then using it over and over again. It's one of the reasons why, I'm a big Otter.ai fan, but for folks that are looking for something like this, this is inexpensive and it creates things so you don't have to think about it. For me, I don't mind that I got to take another step. I did that today. I recorded a video actually before we got on. I transcribed it using Otter. I then converted it to an SRT file, and then I actually also then downloaded it and turned it into a Word file. So I don't mind doing that, but if you don't want to jack around, spend a couple bucks. It's totally worth it.
Yeah. Oh, and that brings up with not to do a commercial for Rev, but the big thing I like about Rev too is that it's like $1 a minute, right? And if you do a video, you pay 10 minutes, 10-minute video, it's $10. But then there's 10 different, I think it's 10 still, maybe it's 12 types of files, types of text files that you can grab, and it doesn't cost you extra. So you can get 10 different types of files. It's the same price as if you got one.
Yeah, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yep.
So again, not trying to do a commercial for Rev, but that's the one I've been familiar with. Hopefully these guys are good too. We'll try it out.
Yep.
Yeah, and I'd say here's the thing. I mean, with all these tools, we recommend these tools because we try to find things that are new, that are interesting for you to use. Some of the tools they start out really great, and then all of a sudden, the price just balloons, to a ridiculous price. So in this case, test it out with a couple of videos. And here's the thing: it's $6. If you want to do an individual video. But the great thing you have to remember here is, you're not just, it's serving your audience. So if your audience, for instance, if you're looking at your stats, your video metrics, for instance, on Facebook, and you're seeing they're watching with the sound off, hey, it's time to consider adding that subtitle, so that people can watch that. For example, maybe, for instance, somebody's watching a video, maybe they're at work, or they're on the train or something, they don't have headphones, they can at least, watch your video and keep up with it. Somebody might be watching their content when they're, in their bed going to sleep, and, maybe they have the sound off or something. So, lots of different opportunities here, but something to definitely check out and give it a try for your videos.
Awesome.
So second tool for this week is called Loom. And Loom is basically a tool for helping you, basically you can create shareable videos, and you can, pretty much automate the process of this. So like you can be on screen, you can record a video, whether it's you on screen, you just on camera, just your screen. You're probably thinking, well, hey, why do I need another screen recording tool? Basically, this is a great tool for you to be able to quickly create video content, whether it's tutorial or something you want to walk somebody through. And this is actually it's a free app. So
I can't believe Loom is free. I gotta tell you, I'm on the advisory board for OneMob, and Loom is an excellent tool. It's almost as good as OneMob. Not quite. OneMob's got some great features as well, but the fact that you can quickly record it, puts your little face in there, is really nice. I like Loom for quick stuff. It's really crazy good.
Yeah, and I personally, I use this for certain things, and I also use a tool called Cloud App as well. I use that for a lot of my recordings. But again, it's a free app. So that's a couple of things I like about that. Vincent, what about you? Do you use this one, or do you use something else?
No, I've never used it, but I was just kind of checking it out beforehand, and the fact that, well, number one, it integrates with Slack, which is pretty big in a lot of places. I didn't see, maybe it integrates with some of the other things too, like an Asana or something. I don't know, but integrating with Slack, just about everything integrates with Slack these days.
Right.
But the fact that it integrated with Slack, it kind of brought up the question in my head of, Slack does video, like video calls. So this is more of like, I have this graphic thing, at least the examples they were showing on the website. I have this graphic thing that I want to share with everybody. And I can show everybody that. You guys have used it, or Phil, you've used it. But is that like, what is that?
So think about this, right? So think about you're a sales guy, and your customer asks you, "Hey, I've got a question about how do I use this feature of the product?" You can do a quick support video. If you've got a quick question, I can now go to your website, or like if I want to do a LinkedIn profile review, Vincent, I would give you I'd scroll through your profile and make a couple points, and then say, "Hey, if you want to do more, then reach out to me, and I'd be happy to talk to you more."
So screen sharing.
Yeah, so it's great for a screen share with the little circle video. Wow. Okay. It's not like Slack is a calling feature. This is screen share feature, and it builds a little bit of a landing page as well, so I could add some documents on there, and I can see when you actually open it. So it's pretty slick.
Is it? It's almost like Zoom on a little bit of steroids or something.
Yeah, and it has a landing spot for your video that's still private, which is pretty freaking cool.
It's free, so I'm going to try it for sure.
Yeah, it's totally worth playing with, man.
And then it's desktop, or is it also mobile, or?
No, not mobile. It's a Chrome plugin.
Okay.
So, but it's slick, man. I really like it. It's a good tool.
Yeah, we're checking it out. And as you mentioned, Vincent, free, and here's the thing, like most of the time you get a free tool and it's filled with ads and all that sort of stuff, and Loom hasn't gone that way yet. So definitely worth checking out.
Cool.
Yeah.
Give it a try. It works on Mac, works on Windows. What we're gonna add, Vincent?
Joanne just said she uses Zoom, but she likes the look of Loom. But I just realized, like, Loom instead of Zoom. Like, it's funny that they named it Loom for whatever reason they did. That it's one letter off from Zoom.
So I've stopped questioning why a company is named what they are, because I feel every day, nowadays, I think people just pluck like, oh, that's a cool, crazy name.
Yeah. Just take out the vowels, right? Just take out all the vowels. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
So that's it for this week's show. Our last tool for the show for this week, and I want to say, Vincent, it's been a pleasure having you on. I know we tried to have you on a few episodes ago, and I think there were some technical glitches or something. But fantastic having you on. Good to hear that you're doing well, that everything is going great at ASU. Vincent, Phil, thank you again also for co-hosting this week. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Heck yeah, man. It's good to be here. Vincent, we appreciate you, man. Where would people get more connected with you, man? If people want some of your magic, where are they going to find that?
Pretty much everything's under my name. So I'm being in social media like we all are. I mean, any platform you're on, you're probably going to find me if you search for my name. I kind of have become a little known with that hashtag of not a guru. I've stuck with it all because people, when I first got on social media, and I just kind of I made that up, and all of a sudden people responded to it. So it's like I can't get rid of it. I don't want to get rid of it because it's like it speaks to, I think, what you guys stand for and what I stand for. Like we don't want to be known as gurus necessarily. Like call ourselves that, at least. If other people compliment you and they're calling you like a name affectionately, totally fine, but I'm not going to ever call myself something like that, the Jedi right. and all that. And so
and there are no gurus. I mean, nobody is an absolute master at everything. I mean, granted, yes, somebody has like a niche they focus on. For example, you've got the
expertise like Phil in LinkedIn. I mean, look, I would call Phil a guru, but with affection. Like I'm calling him that, but Phil, I don't think would call himself that.
Exactly.
That's right, and that I love that, and I appreciate your humility, Vincent. Thank you for not kicking my butt too badly in fantasy football.
Thanks for having me on. Thanks for having me on. I enjoy the show. I think you guys do an awesome job, and I learn stuff. The times I'm able to watch, I totally learn stuff, and especially with the tools, you guys are bringing it every time.
Thank you
very much. So that's going to do it for this week's episode of the show, guys. Episode 167 is in the books. We've got, we're going to be publishing a blog post that'll go out tomorrow. We've got a couple other topics we didn't cover tonight. We had one on YouTube ad pods, as well as some others. So be sure to subscribe to social
AKA commercials.
Yes, basically.
YouTube commercials. That's all it is.
Yep.
So subscribe to socialchefs.com/daily. That'll get you our daily email along with a link to the blog post when that goes out. Next week, we're going to have, I think we have Gail on, Gail Gilliland. So we've got her on as well, a new guest. So we're looking forward to it. But we will see you all next week. Same time, same channel, socialchefs.com/BeLive. Thanks a lot for joining. Have a great night, everyone.
See you, everyone.
Later.